Good evening, everyone. How are you today? For those of you that don't know me, I am Helen Matos. I am a volunteer here at APEX, International Association of the Existential Program. I hope you guys enjoy the live tonight. If you are new here, we are a nonprofit organization and we are dedicated to studying the existential program according to the consciential paradigm. We are all volunteers here, and I am very happy to be here with you tonight. If you're new to this channel, please make sure you subscribe. And then this way you can actually watch and hear a lot more activities and a lot more information that we might have in the future. Okay. This is our third live in English, so we are very excited about it. And we have three more lives in our existential program marathon before we go live with our existential program course. So stay tuned. There's a lot more coming your way. Well, if you like what you hear tonight, make sure you subscribe. I already said that, so just reiterating. Um, as I mentioned before, guys, we are a scientific and educational institution. So this brings me to our principle of disbelief. Please do not believe anything we hear or watch here tonight. Have your own experience, okay? Have experiment, and participate. Have make questions. Make your own observations. We want to hear from you, okay? It's going to be a more laid back conversation than anything else. All right? Let's have our friends here again tonight. Ana Lu Galotti.
Hi, Ellen. How are
Hi.
you?
Good, good. How are you, honey?
I'm fine. I'm so happy to be here again.
Me too. Me too. I enjoy these conversations a lot. I wish we could have every
Me
day.
too.
All right,
Today is
let's.
going to be great.
Yeah, yeah. And today's topic is very interesting. Let's welcome Larissa Imperico.
Hi, everyone. Very glad to be here with you guys again. I hope we had a great evening together.
Hi, Larissa. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, my dear friend, almost next door neighbor, Marcelo Pires.
Hello,
Hi,
Helen.
Marcelo. Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
Hi. I'm doing well. Okay. Hello to everybody. It's good to be here again.
Good to have you here, guys. Very good indeed. All right, so I am going to go ahead and ask. Oh, no, first, let me see. Oh, we have some friends here already. Hi, Denise. Hi, guys. That's very nice to have you here tonight. Thank you for joining. Hi, Loshi. So before we start, I'd like to ask you, Larissa, if you could tell us a little bit about what we are going to be talking about tonight.
Yes, thank you, Ellen. So, just before, let me give you guys a heads up. So, we had our first live, which was about the purpose of life itself, the existential program. And we had our second live last week, as Helen said, which was about parapsychism and the purpose of life. So you can go to our channel, watch again if you if you have already, or if you haven't, you can watch. If you have any queries at any point, you can send us, you can comment. We are here for you guys. So this was just a heads up. And today we're gonna speak about birth, death, and the purpose of life. So why did you bring this subject here today? So our life is made of cycles. And I think the main one is the cycle of life itself. And that's the reason why we are bringing this subject up. Yeah. So all of us, we are born in a place, in a society, in a specific family. And usually societies, they have patterns. So they have patterns of behaviors, of values, of events. Psychology even define these events as normative events. So, what is a normative event? It's something that usually happens in the life of everyone. So, everyone is born and then we grow up. Some of the things I'm going to speak about in a couple of minutes. But if you have any questions about this as well, just send it to us. It's absolutely fine. Yeah. So, what is the cycle of life? So, usually we are born and then we grow up. We go to school, we make some friends, we start building up a career at some point in our lives. We find a job, yeah, and then we are very worried about finding a good job. We might find a partner as well, decide to start a new family with this partner. So some of us might decide to move from our parents' houses and then have children. Usually people get married as well, yeah, and then at some point we will think about retirement, and then when we are at a certain age, we'll think about retirement, and then we all know that at some point we are going to die. Okay, so these events I spoke about, they are some standard events of an average life. So we all know these events that I've just spoke about. They are very common. They are very well known to us. However, what we are trying to bring here is a more complex view of our lives. Yeah. So instead of having this pre-list of everything that we should do in our lives, we are trying to see our life in a more complex way, especially if you don't feel fulfilled with these events I just spoke about, if they are not enough for you. So, as Ellen just said, principle of disbelief, don't believe in anything I'm saying right now. Yeah, have your own experiences. But what conscientiology tries to bring is a more complex way of being life, as I said, but in a way that instead of some events or money or your career being your priority, evolution is your priority instead. So you're just trying to bring this up. You can think about it, see if it makes sense for you. And now Marcelo can speak a bit more about the consensual paradigm to us.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about the this concept here, birth, death, and purpose of life. Okay, so you can look at on the traditional paradigm that we have, the scientific paradigm, like Descartes, or we can look at it under the consensual paradigm. Let's remember, for who did not watch the previous lives, okay? The consensual paradigm, it's composed by, combined by the holosomatics, okay? So we have multiple bodies of manifestation, okay? Bioenergetics, we have energy around us that we can feel, we can maneuver these energies and so on. And there are different kinds of energies. Multidimensionality, so there are several different dimensions. The seriality, okay, that's what we call it, the multi-existential cycle. We have multiple lives, okay? And the self-experimentation, okay? So we, the consciousness, we are the subject of our own experimentation. So we need to be our object of study, the instrument, and observer, okay? So when you're talking about, for example, birth, okay, let's see first what's the Newton Descartes paradigm. What would be, okay, the physicality paradigm? Birth would be simply the act or process of bearing or bringing offspring. That's a biological process, okay? That's a hormonal event, like two beings gather together or to generate another one. In some species, they would be able to do it by itself, okay? You would not need a partner on it, okay? So it starts to come that traditional questions. Where did I come from? Okay, when you look only through the physical paradigm, okay, there is this big question where that's old philosophical one. And then when you think about the consensual paradigm, we start to get the multi-existentiality and the multiple bodies, and we start to understand that it's just a consciousness that already exists, that was in out of the physical world. It was what called the extra-physical world, and then in a process, it starts to the process of rebirth, or we call that you start to get a new body, okay, for the consciousness for this particular existence. So it is this comparison. Okay, one event that we simply have the physiological birth, and another one that yes, we have the physiological birth, but there are other dimensions too, and other uh, uh, aspects that were not covered because we cannot measure it today with the scientific instruments that we have.
That's awesome, Marcelo. I believe that a lot of us have uh, asked ourselves at some point, or maybe like me, all the time, why are we born in one country and not another, or in this specific family, or some people are born into money and some are not? Who decides that?
Well, I'm going to start with that, and then we'll let Larissa and Analu to make their comments on it. So idea today is be really an open chat about the topics. Well, it's everything is linked to what we can call it like evolutionary groups. Okay, since we have multiple existences, we had contact with multiple other people through different lives. Okay, we have connections with these different groups, and we start to create bonds that could be uh, more healthy or less healthy with these groups. Okay, and then uh, some of the options when you're born in a particular country or in a particular family, you'll be linked to this past that you have from previous existence, from previous lives. Okay, because you're connected with that group somehow, and then this is this physical existence here. That's an opportunity to reconciliate or to make better relations with that people that today could be your mother, your father, could be a brother, could be a sister, cousins, and so on, could be working colleagues. And then you, due to your past experiences and also past lives, and also from the people that are around you, okay, so you may go to a particular country, for example, that we have people from a particular experience, from a particular life, that will be there too, okay, and that's a effect from relations that you had before, and then this is an opportunity to evolve. This is an opportunity for evolution, that when you have again this contact with these groups, that you can make better choices, okay, more evolutionary choices that can leverage your own evolution and help the others on your group also to evolve.
So yeah, well,
Larissa?
probably it will depend on the decisions we make before we are born, right? What we have to work in ourselves and so on. That's great.
Yeah. And what Marcelo was saying about the groups, I think he put it in a very easy way to understand. It's something that we call in conscientiology grupo karma. Yeah, so this is the putting very easily, because we haven't got much time to go deep into this concept. Is a group where you have debts, okay, and then as Marcelo was saying, probably you have to reconciliate to these people. Some people you have a good relationship, some
Mhm.
others this is not that good, and probably this is part of your plan, so this is part of your purpose of life. And as we were saying, things are built, so we decided these things based on which context will be the best for our evolution. And evolution is very complex. So it's not like we say, for instance, in religion, that some people were bad and then they will be poor. Some people were good and they will be born rich. It's not like that. It's a lot more complex. It's thinking about what is the best for your consciousness that is unique and need to learn certain things and has a specific purpose of life. So it's quite different from what we usually understand as the reason why we are born in a place or not. But I just wanted to bring and to remind this concept of what is the best for your evolution. And this is very, very unique and specific. And your relationships, the people you're going to meet as when you're children and everything matters for your evolution.
Yeah, I agree with you both because no one receives a specific mother or a father by chance. Somehow we all have deep connections, a deep bond with each other. And if you are born in some kind of family and somehow you think, what happened? I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Why was I born in this family?
Very
I can get
common,
along
yeah.
with them. This is very common. And well, you do. I'm sorry, but you do. And you have to make amends because the first rule to evolve is that you have to make amends with your group karma, as Larissa said. So the people that are around you, your family, your people you work with, you have something to do with them, you know,
Yeah,
energetic bond.
even if you don't have anything in common, maybe you have the flaws in common, right? You don't like something about someone else. Oh, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's a good opportunity to give the example as well. So let's say, for instance, if you think someone has some behavior that you don't agree with, that you don't think is nice, is a good opportunity for you to do something different and then to show them how is it good to be different instead of complaining, because I think our first instinct is to complain, is to say, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like to live with this person. But then do different, show you're different, show how it's good to live in a different way. I think this is the first step for all of us.
Yeah, and there is another thing about this because sometimes we complain about the other person or a behavior, but we do the same thing but in other contexts. So if someone is doing something that makes you mad, look at yourself first because you somehow may be doing the same exactly behavior but in a different context. And this is how sometimes it is so hard to be with someone because that someone is the reflect of what you do and what you don't like in yourself.
Yeah. Especially based on what Marcelo was saying, if we take into consideration the multiple dimensions, and so it's probably not you and that person in the context.
Yeah,
There's a lot more there, right, Marcelo?
yeah, and then I think that, well, what Analu was saying about observe the people and understand the traits of that people and see what is similar to what we have or not. And then I would bring, like, when talking about other dimensions and bioenergetics, also the fact that sometimes you meet someone, you never exchange a simple conversation with that person. And then you have a deeply empathy with that person, okay? You feel like close to that person without even exchange the first words, or you have some kind of antipathy against that person. And then you need to think about, okay, how do you get to these points, okay? It because goes also into that other aspect that we have about bioenergetics in conscienciology of the consciential paradigm, okay? So you start to read the energy of that person that you have some kind of past history from previous lives, for example. And then you go to that. I have some friends today that when first met me, like a big friend that when she first met me, she didn't like me at all. And then we had lots of amends to do. And then today it's a good friend.
Oh, that's
Okay.
good.
Marcelo, what you were saying now just made me remind of the intraphysical restriction because I think it's very important. Imagine and how hard would it be for us to evolve if we were born with all of those memories from the past. Imagine you being born on a family where some your father killed you in a past life, or you did something very bad for your mother or your brother. So, if you could speak a little bit about this intraphysical restriction, I think it would be great.
Yeah, yeah, because when you're thinking about the different bodies, okay, that we have a physical body, energetic body, emotional body, a mental somatic body, okay. So in a previous life, we could have this kind of relations, and then let's say that you killed someone in a previous life, or made something that was really very negative to the other person, or vice versa. Okay, so you're going to the extra physical period, and we are going to pass away in that particular life after the period of that life, and then you are going to go through the extra physical period, and then you're going to reborn. Okay, so when you're reborn, you get some kind of constraint that basically you don't bring that memories that you have before. It's kind of, if you have a good comparison would be a computer. Okay, so the computer that I have in front of me, for example, I reset the computer, and then I start a new program here, a new period here, and then well, it doesn't mean that what happened before it doesn't exist. It's just that for that moment, it's better for me that I don't have that memories. But with the right techniques, in the right moments, when it becomes pro evolutionary, I can go into the cloud and get access to that previous experiences. So it's a kind of parallel that we can do between the several experience that we have, several lives, and the technology that we have today about computers and the cloud. Okay, like our what's called the holo memory, or the full memory of our existing lives. It's in a kind of cloud. Okay, that would be in our mental soma. Okay, and psychosoma. They are hidden there. Okay, and then we have our physical body that's more like a more uh, let's say solid hardware, okay, more not robust, okay, but tougher hardware compared to the more electronic ones.
I
So
love these analogies with computers. My husband is in the computer science area too, and I don't understand much about computers. So whenever you guys bring this kind of analogy to me, it makes so much sense. I love it.
Can I just add up something that Marcelo was just saying? Because I think the thing is that we are not mature enough. That's very simple to understand. So we are not mature enough to know certain things. So I would say most of the things. Uh, we are not mature. You can see, even if someone says something to us that we don't like, we keep thinking about it, we don't forgive the person. So this just show us that we have a lot to evolve, and we need to understand the other person, we need to understand their evolutionary level. Yeah, and then sometimes it's too difficult, and that's the reason why it's easier to delete all the data, as Marcelo was saying, so to delete all the information and then to have a fresh mind starting from zero again. And that's the cycle that the consciousness goes and comes, and we are trying here to break the cycle of not being lucid for things and trying to be more lucid, trying to look to yourself. So this example I just gave, is there any people that you should forgive and you don't, that you keep thinking about the bad things that the person did for you? Why not trying to be the better person? Why not go in and try and speak to clarify things? And then I think this is a good challenge for all of us to try and start thinking about our evolutionary cycle instead of just living and doing what everyone else is doing, trying to take the lead and take charge of our own life and evolution.
That's awesome. Guys, we have some more hellos here. Hello, Gabriela Dias, Cristiane Gugger, Viviane, Cristine Lopes, André Chataloff. Thank you guys for being here. And feel free to make questions. If you don't feel comfortable on making questions in English, you can do it in Portuguese. That's okay. We understand Portuguese. We have two questions from Pietra. One, question one. Does it mean that all people we meet at this life we have met in previous lives? Everyone, nobody is new.
I'll risk to say that probably everyone we meet to have a history with this person. And that's why the comment of Marcelo is so important, to try and see before the person say anything, just with the energy. If you don't know what it is, watch our previous life about parapsychism and try and see the different ways to understand your parapsychism. But this is a good first point of contact to try and see the type of relationship you had with the person in the past. But I will risk to say, I don't know Ana Lu and Marcelo's opinion, I will risk to say that almost 100% we have some history there.
I think it's possible that at some point we may meet someone new, but I don't know. I think most of them are going to be from our group karma, because I can't even think about how many previous lives I had before. So imagine how many people we have met. We have some kind of bond. I don't know. I think almost 100% is going to be from our evolutionary group.
Yeah, I would say the same, but always consider that every rule, okay, has some exceptions. Okay, so most of the people you'll be linked to us somehow from our past. May have some people that will be new, yes. Okay, but overall, the majority of them you'll be from the past. If it's not from a past life, could be also from your past. You met that consciousness, that person on the previous extra physical period that you had, for example. Too. Don't consider only about the lives, but the period between the lives that you also have.
So I thought there were two questions, but Pietra actually made the same question twice. So, but I have another question here, guys, a controversial one. I want to ask you guys, do you believe in life after death? Is that a belief that you have, or can you prove that it's there, it exists? What is it?
Well, Ellen, I think that we said before, okay, the principle of disbelief. Don't believe in anything that we say here. Have your own experience. Do your experiments. And then I think that each one of us can bring some different techniques and examples about what you can try, okay? Because I did experiment, so for me that's not a belief anymore. That's something that I went through it, and then you can try some of these techniques, and then check what would be better for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with one that I had some experience. Okay, one way to know that you have a previous lives, one of the techniques is retrocognition. Okay. So I had some experience. I remember I some events that I have in different lives. Okay, so I have some memories of lives in Europe. I have one memory of a life that I was in Asia. Okay, so I also have memories of a period when I was in between two lives, I was in the extra physical dimension.
Oh.
So those are different experiences that you have, and then uh, there are some techniques to help on achieving that. We even have inside the conscientiological community, we have one conscientiocentric institution that's dedicated for that. And I have, well, with different experience, you start to become, okay, makes sense. It's kind of creating a puzzle, that jigsaw puzzle, that you start to put the pieces together and having a better understanding about some of the needs that you have, of amends that you need to do in this life, because you start to have contact of our version of you that was not so better in a previous life. Okay.
And believing something doesn't require experimentation. And what we do, what we research, we say, oh, this idea is possible. Okay, I don't know about this yet, but I'll try to experiment. So then I'll have the fact to say, oh, this is possible or this is not possible. So one of the things that I already had my retrocognitions, but we also could take as evidence of life after death the lucid projections that we've told before. And there's one phenomenon that I think is very interesting, that are the NDEs, the near-death experiences, because we have a lot of cases, study cases that are amazing. But there is a doctor, he has a book published, and he's a neuroscientist. And so he was very into the conventional paradigm, you know, the reductionist and materialistic science. And if you said to him, he was asked, "What would you say to a patient that tells you about a near-death experience?" And he says, "Well, I would say that that person would be so sick that her brain was hallucinating, or he or she was dreaming, or something like this. So forget about this experience and move on with your life." But he would say this before his coma because he had a near death experience. So, as a neuroscientist, he couldn't believe in his own experience. So, he tried to make a research on his medical history to understand what was happening to his brain, because he had to find some medical explanation for what happened, because all of his doctors friend said this is a medical miracle, because it's not possible to explain what happened. His neocortex, he had bacteria meningitis. Okay, so it drove him into a coma, and his brain got so damaged that practically that his neocortex had no function at all. Neocortex is this frontal part of our brain which makes us humans, because all of our decision make, all of these experiences that we are having now, talking and thinking and elaborating our experiences, this happens because of neocortex. Okay, so, what he understood about his condition is that it was not possible for his brain to create this experience. So he came into to a conclusion that our consciousness is more than just our physical body. So, yes, we have a lot of evidence that we can survive our physical death. And I think this example is amazing because we are talking about someone who was all of his life, he had this view, this intraphysical view, this mechanicist view of life. And but he had this experience that was so powerful, so mind-blowing, that he understood, well, there has to be something more. Is it possible to explain? Not yet, but And he also says that neuroscience is going to have to evolve to a new level to try and explain these things.
Oh,
And I think this is powerful.
that's very interesting. What's his name again?
Eben Alexander. And there's also a research group from the University of Virginia that they devote all of their jobs, the work of their life to study phenomena like this. Okay, so near-death experience, children who have memories from their past life, people who are about to death and somehow they have a miracle recovering and are able to talk to the family and then they die. So they are dedicated to study a phenomena like this, but different from what we are doing here because we try to understand our existence. They are trying to understand what happens to the brain. So this division, this study group, they call Division of Perceptual Studies. Okay, so it's a very interesting because they have a lot of article published and books, and it's amazing, amazing work.
Yeah, I think just adding up on what Marcelo and Analu were saying, one of the best ways to try and prove to yourself that past lives or maybe future lives, let's put it this way, can exist is the out of body experience. Is a very, very good way of proving to yourself. As Marcelo and Analu, I had my own retrocognitions as well. And I was just thinking while Analu was saying, and I think the best you can do for yourself is to have the experience. When you have and you live something, uh, there's no way of questioning it. It's totally different from a dream. It's totally different from anything else. So that's why it is important for you to prove to yourself, to experiment, to try the techniques. We have so many techniques available online. You can try find books for free to download. We don't charge for anything. So you can find this information and then try and prove to yourself. Okay. Another good thing that I would like to add is that past lives, one good evidence of past life is that some skills we have is very difficult to explain how we have these skills for free. Let's put it this way. How is that possible? And then sometimes you see a child that, let's say, for instance, knows how to play the piano as a professional person, and the child never plays before, never played before. I mean, this is a good explanation of it, and you don't have to believe. This is not a religion. You don't have to try and believe on what I'm saying, but the evidence is out there. And then even we can try and look to ourselves. Which skills do I have, and why is this here? This is quite uncommon. Let's say on my example, yeah, I knew how to dance belly dance. I knew everything since I was little, everything, and I've never danced before. And I was just saying, I've never been to any Arabic country. I've never done any of this, and I know everything. And from the first time I'm trying and dance in the school, they said I was a professional. So there's no explanation for it. I mean, it's something that I developed in the past because science, introphysical science, let's put this way, cannot explain those things because they are not explained by the materialistic view. So that's one good example I would like to bring as well.
And Larissa, since we are here talking about our existential program, besides what you're saying, even if we have a certain difficulty in doing something, and that something is important to our existential program, we have to stop and think about it, right? Because maybe, I don't know, by hypothesis, what if I did that in another life, but I didn't that the right way, the way that I would have actually planned before, and then I now feel maybe ashamed or somehow stuck and I
Yeah,
can't
because
do
I
it.
think one problem that we have is that we have the tendency to repeat. So if we are good in something, we want to do that again and again because, of course, everyone likes to be good in something. We don't like to be beginner. We like to be professionals, right? And then, so we have the tendency of doing this. But the problem is, if you have done this in the past, so let's put the example of a dancer, okay? I know this is not my purpose of life, being a dancer. But let's imagine that I thought, because okay, I'm good on this, let me try and do this again. And let's imagine I had like 5 lives in the past that I was just dancing. And then I've learned with dance. I'm not saying it's something bad. It was good for me in the past, but now I have a praxis. It's different. So sometimes you can even plan before you're born. So you can even, let's say you have a problem in your bones or something physical, to try and stop yourself from repeating this again. So it's not a punishment. You understand the difference between what religion says and we are trying to bring here is for your own evolution. You are the person that decided that. You said, look, when I am in my physical body, I am totally, I don't have the same lucidity I have here. And I want to do something new. I want to help people in a new way. And then I don't want to repeat my past lives. So you can even put some restriction on yourself, on your physical body, or maybe being born in a family that doesn't have the best DNA. I don't know. There are many hypotheses for that, but this can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about dancing, and I remember I have a relative, okay, someone close to me that with 2 years old would be doing like a ballet steps, okay, just keeping dancing ballet. It's person like likes to dance very well, sing, plays instruments, and then but it's such a moment where it's start to get older, it start to thinking about okay, but that's nice. I like everything to do on these things, but I think that I want to do this particular career, and then went to something linked to science and math. So I think that we have these skills, these abilities from past lives, okay, and sometimes could be a nice hobby, but it's important to ask yourself what will add to you. Okay, what will help you develop more in this particular life?
Or how could you use this ability to help people to do something that is going to be something that is going to add something to your praxis? I think this is a good way to think.
And what I was saying was that I know this person, and she is a researcher in one of the institutions of conscienciology, and she feels the need to write. No, she feels that she needs to write a book or an article or something, but she had a lot of difficulties doing that. But she had the calling, she had the feeling. And then, like Marcelo said, she actually remembered a past life where she also used to write, but she didn't do it in the more existential way. So this way, when she went to her intermissive course, she realized what she had done and that she wasted that talent. And that's what was making her feel stuck in this life. And by remembering that, she was actually able to fix it and retrain her brain and everything. And she's writing. She's now she's like she wrote almost two 4 books, I think, 3 or 4. I don't know. She's very well known in our, but she told me that story, and that was stuck in my mind.
Yeah, that's good.
Very interesting.
So, guys, we are already almost finished. So,
Well,
Time
let,
flies.
yeah,
Time flies, yeah.
so let's talk a little bit about okay the end of the journey. Okay, that's not the
yeah.
end. Okay, because just make the comparison again. Okay, well, what is death? Okay, death is the permanent cessation of all biological functions. Okay, so the body stops to exist. And then it comes that question, okay, what is that what's the next step? Okay, where that consciousness, that person will go? Okay, and that's something that it's a big question mark for the mechanicist paradigm or the mechanicist science. And then when you expand it to the consciential paradigm, again, the same way that we came already from the extraphysical, well, we are heading back to the extraphysical world. Okay, and then, well, what does it mean, the death? Or the end of this existence of this body? That's just the end of an opportunity to evolve and to assist other people in this dimension. Okay, because the moment that we are here in this dimension, we have contact with several people that for different reasons we wouldn't have be able to have a close contact if we are in the extra-physical dimension. Okay? But here we interact with several different groups. And then this period from the birth to the death, well, that's a moment that you can work in our uh, purpose of life, in our existential program, and helping other people, assist ourselves. And for example, could be writing a book like your friend Ellen, could be getting better relationships with your family and friends, could be working in the research of new vaccines. When you look about all this pandemic environment, you have different ways, okay, different and you depend on the talents, the skills that the person have it. And well, it starts to make a link with another life that you're going to have. That's the pandemic and the purpose of life. Okay, when you think about the people that research on the health environment. Okay, the health field.
Yeah, I think it's very important what Marcelo is saying, because the fear of death, I think, is one of the main fears we have as humanity. So, along history, you can find that we all fear death. In some places in the world, this is even a taboo, so we cannot speak about death. And then, when you have these experiments from your own self, you can prove that it's just it's not a big deal, to be honest. Of course you have your purpose of life, you have your proexis, but it's just the physical body, so your consciousness will continue experiencing and having other experiments and having next lives and learning and evolving. So it's not that big thing. And just to thank you guys for today. Time was flying. And invite you guys for next week. As Marcelo was saying, next Thursday, Pandemic and the Purpose of Life. We are very excited to speak about this next week. And don't forget our course. This is going to be on the 18th of July in Portuguese and on the 25th of July in English. Everyone is invited.
Analu,
Oh,
any
I
last
think
thoughts?
that I think that's it. I just want to say that the good news is that we don't have to wait for a near-death experience to try to experiment on these facts, because we have a lot of techniques that we could try for ourselves. And that's it. It was very nice to talk to you guys today. It was a great moment, and I see you next week.
And I'd like
Well,
to thank you all again, and then just say that it's a pleasure to be here and to talk about these subjects. Okay, so it's always good. And next week we are going to be all together again one more time.
yeah. So, guys, I the way I see it, I am looking forward to the course. I'm gonna be with you guys there. The way I see it is that this course is going to help me organize and understand to prioritize what I need to be done right now, right? Especially in my case, which I mean that I was away for a while. Now I came back and I need to cut some corners, see if I can accomplish my proaxis. So if anybody else there feels like this, I think this course is a great opportunity for that. We can actually get in contact with these subjects, these topics that we've been talking here, but in more a more contextualized environment, and we can even go more personal and understand more what's going on in our proaxis, right? So I have some, let me see. I like to invite you guys to visit our website, apexinternacional.org, so you guys can actually see what we have planned for this month, July. We have a lot of activities, and you can also subscribe to our email list if you would like to receive our updates. All right, guys. So as always, thank you so much. I appreciate you all here. I appreciate being here. Thank you for having me. And I'll see you
Thank
guys
you.
next Thursday.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank
guys.
you. Bye
Have a good
bye.
Yep.
evening.
Bye.